the power of questioning. Before I begin, I want you to stay silent with a moment. Now, why I ask you to stay silent? Because silent is a place where questioning actually begins. Now, let me ask you something. When was the last time you asked yourself the real question? And what is that real question? The real question is all about you. Not the Google question, not the work question, not a polite question you already knew the answer. A real question, the kind that makes you very uncomfortable. The kind that doesn't want an immediate answer. The one that stays with you even after the day ends and you are still processing it. Most people don't suffer because they don't have the answers. They suffer because they stop asking. And today, I want to speak to you about the power of questioning. It is not as a communication skill or intelligence, but as a way of staying alive from inside. As children, we ask endlessly. We feel like we have to be curious all the time. What do we ask? Anything. Why the sky is blue? Why do I have to listen every time? Why can't I do this? Why the seniors or adults are always right? And slowly and very slowly, questioning becomes unsafe. Not because the questions are wrong, but because questions disturb comfort. They disturb authority. They disturb routines. They disturb certainty. So the world trains us quietly, don't ask too much. Just adjust. Be practical, yaar. This is how life works. And then something deeply we gets vanished with. We don't stop questioning the world, we stop questioning ourselves. We stop being curious. And at some point, we stop asking, do I actually want this in my life? Do this feel right to me? Am I growing or just surviving? Is my voice is this or this is someone else's expectation? Instead, we start asking safer questions. What people will think? Is this stable? Is this acceptable? Will this look good from outside? Safe questions keep the life stable, but unsafe questions make the life meaningful. Let me say something uncomfortable to you. Your obedience is building the systems, but questioning builds consciousness. Don't stop questioning just because you have to build the systems. A person who does not question becomes efficient but not aware. They even don't know what they are doing and why they are doing. They do everything right and still feel something is wrong or missing. Because obedience asks, what should I do? But asking questions or being curious, ask the why. Why am I doing this? One creates the compliance, which is also required. The other creates the clarity. That's why questioning is often misunderstood as rebellion. But questioning is not rebellion. It's a responsibility. It's a sincerity towards the subject. Because when you don't question yourself, someone else designed it for you. And one day you wake up with a job you didn't choose. The relationship you tolerate just because somebody decided it for you. Values you inherited and believed as beliefs. Dreams you postponed because You name it कि कभी और करेंगे. Not because you failed, but because you never asked. You just agreed. What should I do? Your life is not shaped by your answers. Your life is shaped by the questions you repeatedly ask yourself. If you keep asking, what is wrong with me? You are creating shame in yourself for the choices you made because you were taught, what should I do? If you keep asking, why am I not like others? You will create comparison. If you keep asking, when will life get easier? You create waiting. But if you ask, what is this teaching me? You create wisdom. You try to enter into the why zone. Same life, different questions, different inner world. Identity is not who you are as of now. Identity is the kind of questions your mind lives in. That is why transformation does not begin with a motivation. It begins with a better question. Now, let us talk about emotions. It is also a part of questions. When pain comes, most people ask, why is this happening to me? Right? Why people are like this? Is it? Why am I always the one who is suffering, who is in pain? These questions do not heal. They just trap you in the same vicious cycle of being in misery, a pain that is turned into victimhood. But questioning itself is not the problem. The direction is. Healing questions could be very different, where you want to get out of that miserable mindset. It could be like, why am I actually feeling this right now? Where does I abandon myself? Where does I didn't follow my heart? What was the boundary I have ignored and let it blurred? What is my real truth which I avoid seeing and I don't like it the way how I am doing it? Pain doesn't want fixing. Pain wants attention without escape. And that's what you are giving right now. When you question with honesty instead of panic, emotions stop controlling you. They start guiding you. Emotions are not obstacle, they are information. When you question rightly, that is the place where how you read that information, that emotion. So when you answer something, it closes life. But when you question something, it opens it. Every major shift in your life begins with a question. Right? What if I try? What if I stop? What if this isn't for me? What if I choose something for myself? Questions create movement. That is why people fear them. Because once you ask the right question, you cannot unsee the truth. You cannot delay it. You cannot ignore it. But you cannot unknow it. That's the real power. Questions do not demand immediate action. They demand your awareness. And awareness quietly rearranges everything. Here is a simple 5-layer questioning practice that could help you to improvise it. First, situation. What is actually happening here? Not your assumption, but what is really happening here. Second, emotion. What I'm feeling. What are my real feelings? Give it a name. Not what I should feel, but what right now I'm feeling. Third, pattern. Where have I felt this before? What was my last experience related to this situations? These patterns reveal unconscious loops. Fourth, responsibility. What part of mine is to own? So you are not blaming others but taking the ownership. Fifth, choice. What is the most self-respecting choice right now I can do? Not the bravest or loudest, the one self-respecting where your heart and mind allowing yourself to do it. Ask these questions slowly without urgency, because anytime clarity is not something which asks for the force. It asks your presence in the moment. Let me end with this. A meaningful life does not come for having all the answers. It comes from having the courage to sit with honest questions. Questions that do not rush. Questions that do not perform. Questions that do not impress anybody. Just the truthful ones, the ones you agree with. Because when you stop questioning, life becomes a repetition. And when you start questioning again, life becomes a conversation. You will try to understand everything in a much better way. Not with the world, but with yourself. Thank you. Happy questioning.